Here are 5 last-minute GCSE tips for you to change your grades within the next 2 weeks, and we're going to jump straight in with the first one. So the first tip is a relatively new one that I've discovered, but it's called 15-minute blocks, and they're super easy to use, and the method is super easy to follow. But essentially, all you do is you write a page of notes or as many notes as you can in 15 minutes, and then you move on to the next topic. And essentially what it means is in the last 2 weeks, you don't spend too much time on just one topic. If you do need to make notes or do some revision notes last minute, you can do them in the 15 minutes, and that will help you prioritize what the most important thing in that topic is. But what I want you to focus on especially is on your weaknesses in that topic, and then the things that you don't understand, and those are going to be in your revision notes. And of course, the second tip is to start with a paper. And the reason I say is when you start with doing a full-on past paper, I'm not talking about some with a few questions on one topic, but doing a full-on past paper from 2020, let's say, and see the questions that might come up. Then while doing that past paper, you will be able to exactly see what topics you're struggling with and be able to prioritize doing questions on them and learning the theory. So what you do want to do is do a past paper, see the topics that you find weak, and then prioritize from them. Overall, just doing questions over learning theory. I would say if you have to pick one, which is doing theory and doing questions, I would say do questions, because it's going to ultimately help you so much more when it comes to exams, in terms of answering, in terms of the mark scheme when you mark them, and in terms of the question formats and the question wording that they use, that you'll get more familiar with the more questions that you do. So the third tip is something that you guys might hate me for, but it's to get rid of all-nighters, and this is separate from cramming, because now we're in the last 2 weeks of doing GCSEs. You can't really avoid cramming if you haven't done much revision up till now, but all-nighters is something that can definitely be avoided. They're super bad for you if you feel like you've done a lot of revision that night. Then when you wake up the next day, you'll feel that you wasted that day, and so on and so on, and it's a terrible cycle. And even if that is the case when it comes to your actual paper and you don't feel like you've done enough revision, instead try and start revision as soon as you realize, but not sacrifice your sleep and your mental health, because even on an exam day, if you stay up all night and then you go to do the exam, you'll end up forgetting most of the stuff that you learned and not feel like you've done enough revision anyway. So apart from that worst case scenario, we're going to focus on if you haven't done enough revision on a day and you feel like you've been unproductive, and what you should do instead of doing an all-nighter is just go to sleep at a good time. Try and wake up at the time you would for school if you're on study leave, because after having a good night's sleep, you'll feel more refreshed, much better, and then you'll be able to remember more, which is the key goal in terms of revision. So the fourth tip is to prioritize your subjects. So if you've watched my videos from 70, 50, 30 days left until GCSEs, you'll know that a lot of times when I talk about prioritizing, it's to prioritize your subjects in terms of your hardest topic, or in terms of your paper that's coming up first, or whatever. In this case, what I mean by the last minute techniques in terms of prioritizing is to prioritize the subjects that you want to do at A-level. Let's say you want to do biology at A-level and you need a 7 to get into a 6th form or college. If you don't get a 7, you're not going to get in. So if you need biology for A-level more than you need, let's say, English literature, you would focus on biology more than you would focus on English literature. If you know that you need certain grades for certain subjects to do them at A-level, don't think that your school or college is just going to make a pass for you if you get a grade below. I know people where in that case it hasn't really happened and they've had to come to a last minute really quick solution. So instead, focus on the subjects that you know you need for A-levels. Now, I hope that little prioritize ramble kind of made sense, but this last tip is kind of a fun tip, but also something super real and I relate to so heavily because I do this so often, and you're probably wondering what it is, and it's to prepare your snacks and water and everything that you need in advance. Because oftentimes when I used to do revision, or even when I do revision for A-levels now, I find that if I don't have snacks next to me, or I don't have my drinks or whatever I'm using to revise, I tend to stop working, put down my stuff, go downstairs and procrastinate downstairs, spend much longer than I need getting a drink of water or getting some snacks, and yeah, overall it's just detrimental to my revision. So instead, what I've started doing is when I know I need a glass of water or I want to have some snacks on my desk, I bring them up beforehand before I start my study session. That way everything's on my desk, everything that I need is there, and then I don't have to get up in the middle of a study session and frantically go find a snack. Or this can be applied to anything. So this can be applied to having to find a calculator when you're doing some maths revision, or having to find working pens or pencils. Just try and have everything prepared that you need for your study session ahead of time. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys found this video useful, and I know it's slightly shorter than my other videos, but now in the lead up to GCSE and A-level season, because I have my own A-levels and need to revise, my videos won't be able to be as long, but I'll still try and get one out every Sunday until after GCSEs and A-levels finish. So going back to this video, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys found it useful. If you did find it useful, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with a brand new one. Bye for now.